All right, welcome everybody. My name is Tyler Garnes. I'm the president of Box Out Marketing, and today we're really excited to have you on this webinar called How to Clone Yourself with Infusionsoft. Obviously, with Infusionsoft, we tend to focus on a lot of different things, primarily sales, lead generation, follow-up, things like that. Those things that are going to hit the bottom line directly. And one of the most powerful features tends to get neglected, and that is automation with Infusionsoft, and how you can get Infusionsoft to do a ton of the things that you do manually in your business or that your staff does manually in your business. And so we're going to cover a bunch of those things. My goal is to help each of you save at least 2 hours a day by utilizing Infusionsoft more effectively in your business. So welcome everybody. Take a second, hop into the chat box in Webinar Jam there and just say hi. Tell us where you're from and your name, and just say hi to the group here so we can get a little conversation going. While you're doing that, I'll move forward here on our slides and into our conversation. So we now live in a 24-hour global economy. The internet has changed everything. Your website doesn't sleep, your clients don't sleep, your business doesn't sleep, and therefore you don't sleep, right? Even if you're a local business, this is true. Things are happening 24 hours a day. And this makes it so that if you're not careful about guarding your time, and if you're not automating things with tools like Infusionsoft, then you're just gonna die. There's no way that you can get done all the things that you need to get done. So we've got to leverage the power of automation to help things happen the way they need to happen. So let me just share an example. And you probably saw this because I sent out an email the other day about what got done in our business while I was surfing. And the truth of the matter is I wasn't surfing. I was filming my boys. These are my two older sons, Spencer and Caden. They're on their school surf teams here in North County, San Diego. And so what I'll do is I'll go out with them and have them do mock heats against each other. And so their standard heats are 15 minutes. So I send them out for 15 minutes. They surf against each other. I film it. I score their waves. And then we go home. We review the scores. We review the films, and they learn and they progress. So what happened while I was doing this? Well, an email broadcast went out to thousands about this webinar. You likely got that webinar or that email. Leads came automatically into Jeff's pipeline. Jeff is our sales guy here at Box Out Marketing, and so leads are just automatically coming in, getting assigned to him, and lining up in his pipeline. New client welcome tasks were created. So we have some new clients. They need to get a welcome call, and we send them something in the mail. And so that happened automatically. Brand new Infusionsoft clients were sent their login details to our Infusionsoft Kickstart process. So when we help someone come on to Infusionsoft, we take them through a Kickstart process, and we have a membership site all set up to facilitate that, to take them through some training videos and help them get all set up. And that all happens automatically without us. And also, accountability emails were sent to people who hadn't done their assignments in time. So during that Kickstart process, they get assignments that they're supposed to do and complete. And if they don't complete them, they get emails from us following up saying, hey, I noticed you didn't complete your assignments. You need to get on it. And if not, I'm going to give you a call and slap you around a bit. Right? So that all happens automatically. Saves us hours and hours every day. So again, welcome everybody. I'm seeing all your response coming in. We've got people from Florida, from Arizona, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Sydney, Australia, people all over the place. This is great. New Zealand, Quebec, New York. So welcome everybody. I call out all your names, but there's too many. What I'd like you all to do, you should have gotten a worksheet that goes along with this webinar. Get that out and have it handy, because we're going to review that here. So you've got this 33 ways to automate your business with Infusionsoft, and hopefully you're able to review this form already and identify some areas that you can automate. This is not an exhaustive list. I could probably come up with 33 more things just off the top of my head, but these are a few just kind of example ideas. Everything from collections, automating your collections process, gathering referrals and automating your follow-up to referrals, assigning leads randomly to your sales team, automating fulfillment of marketing pieces and things like that. I mean, just about anything you can think of can be automated through Infusionsoft. So keep this handy and make sure you're reviewing it on occasion. so that you can identify areas of your business that need to be automated. I have a rule, and I want you to ingrain this rule in your brain, maybe even tattoo it on the inside of your brain. That rule is, if you do the same thing 3 times or more, stop and automate it. Okay, and this could be something you're doing, something your staff's doing, something you do once and your staff does twice. If it gets done more than 3 times in your business, it's worth automating. Now, think about it. We don't automate things. Why? Because it takes time to set up the automation. It probably takes, on average, 2 or 3 times longer to set up the automation than it does to actually do the task. But you set that up once, and then it's going to save you that time every single time it's done. So it's an investment of time to save you a whole lot more time. So you should sit around with your team and identify all the things that happen 3 times or more, and then dedicate time to actually automating those things in your business. So how Infusionsoft can save your marriage. I had this slide in the earlier session, and I had a typo. How Infusionsoft can automate your marriage. So I crossed that out. I actually left it in there with a strike through. How Infusionsoft can save your marriage. I thought it was kind of funny. We definitely don't want to automate our marriages, but we want to save our marriages. We want to have great marriages. And so I'm just going to share a little story with you here. A few years back, when I was working at Infusionsoft, I think this was in 2008 or 9, I was going to be traveling on my wife's birthday. Yes, I know, bad idea. Business trip on her birthday, but I still wanted to make it special for her. I wanted to make sure that that she felt special and that she was acknowledged on her birthday. So yes, this is going to actually show what a geek I am. So if you've been on my list for any amount of time and you thought, oh wow, this guy, he's really sharp, he knows automation, whatever. But bottom line is, I'm a complete geek, and this is going to show the total nerd side of me. But I'll share it publicly. It's okay. I'm not ashamed. So anyways, I set up a campaign in Infusionsoft to automate her birthday, essentially. So when she woke up on her birthday, she had an email from me in her inbox saying, happy birthday, sorry I can't be there, blah, 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 blah. By the way, I have some gifts for you, and they're hidden around the house. And all you need to do is, follow the clues, and you'll find all the gifts. So the first clue was in the first email. She had to go follow the clue and find the gift. And then when she got the gift, there was another clue. Well, the clue required her to type in a URL of a web form, and she had to enter in a response into the web form to get the next clue. And so then that would trigger the next clue by email, and she would then have the next clue for the next gift. So, that went on, and then she gets to the grand prize or whatever. I can't remember what it was. And she, I think, thought it was really silly. And, at the end of the day, it was. But bottom line was, she knew that I cared. And so there's an example you can actually automate your marriage, right? No, the point is, and the point of my email was, your business will overtake your life. And if we're not automating as much as we possibly can, we're definitely not spending as much quality time with our loved ones, our spouses, our kids, our family members, friends, those that we care about the most. And we're probably not doing the things that we care about the most. And obviously we all care about our businesses and our clients, but there are things outside of that we all care about. We want to serve in our communities. We want to serve at church. We want to do other things in life, and those things just don't get done if we're not automating the way we should. So there's an example for you. Hopefully that gave you a little chuckle. All right, so what can be automated? That's the first question. I'm overwhelmed at work. I don't have enough time to get the things done I want to get done. Infusionsoft says they can automate all my stuff. Great, where do I start? What can be automated? Well, things you do 3 times or more. We already talked about the rule, right? So things like sending follow-up emails. This happens all the time, right? You are following up with leads. You're following up with clients. There's follow-up emails all day long being sent from you and your staff. You can add people to campaigns. You're probably doing this manually as well. Someone calls in, something happens, and you want to add them to a campaign you built in Infusionsoft because you know that'll take care of them. Well, if you're doing that manually, then you're wasting time. You send cards or direct mail to people. Maybe your new clients, you send them a welcome postcard or something like that. Well, again, that is happening already manually, most likely in your business, and it can be automated. What about automating your product or service fulfillment? We don't usually think about that part of it, but particularly services, you have probably a step-by-step process to deliver on your service. How much of that can be automated, or at least the workflow management of it and reporting of it could be automated in Infusionsoft? Number 2, common inquiries. So these are the easiest things to automate. And these are things like the same sales questions, right? In the sales process, everyone asks the same question. What's the pricing? How do you compare to so-and-so? Can I get a discount? Is there a promotional code? What if I don't have the money now? There's all kinds of common sales objections, and responses to each of those can be completely automated. Same thing with customers. Your customers are calling in with the same questions all the time. How do I use this feature? What are your hours? I can't get a hold of so-and-so. What do I do? There's all these questions. And, lost password. I lost my password to the membership site. How do I get a new one? Where can I find this info? Can you send me such and such? These are the types of questions that are coming up all day long in your business, and you're most likely responding to those by written emails that, sit there and type up and respond to those emails. Well, there's no reason to do that when it can be fully automated. Number 3, how many hours do you waste? So I want you to pull out that worksheet that you did. Hopefully you spent a few minutes actually going through this. And we're going to go through it together here. So how many hours or minutes do you spend each day, and does your staff spend, I would add it all up, sending follow-up emails? How much time do you spend responding to inquiries and sending direct mail? And what about appointment reminders and managing sales leads and collecting referrals and collecting payments and entering data? All of these things are taking up time in your business right now. So take a minute and fill out the details here. Now, if you don't have that form handy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it available to you to download right now. Let's see if I can do this. All right, so there it is. It should be showing up on your screen right now. You can download that now if you haven't already downloaded it, or if you don't have it handy. And I'll give you permission to get up from your desk, walk over and print it right now if you need to, because I want you to go through this, spend some time really thinking about how much time is being spent on all of these things that can be automated. And again, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just a few examples of things that could be automated. How much time are you spending on these things? Let's add it all up. And once you do, I want you to enter that number in the chat here. Let's share how much time we're spending total doing all of these things. Okay, so just pop those into the chat there. I'm really interested to see how many hours collectively we're all wasting. Okay, and we all do this, so don't be shy. Don't be afraid. That's okay. Let's admit where we're doing this so that we can correct it, automate it, and improve our business and our lives. So as soon as you've got a total number there, just pop it into the chat. I had someone earlier in the earlier session, how many hours are you wasting? And someone said, all of them. It reminded me of that Chuck Norris joke where someone asked Chuck Norris, hey, Chuck, how many push-ups can you do? And he says, all of them. Right? So we might be wasting all of our hours, hopefully not. But let's identify how many hours you're spending doing these things and how many hours we can save you by automating some of this stuff in your business. Just pop that in the chat. Let's share these ideas here. Getting a comment from Julie here that the screen's really blurry. I apologize for that. Usually it's a matter of internet speed on one side or the other. Most people tends to work out just fine, but occasionally there are some internet speed issues, and there's not a whole lot I can do about that, unfortunately. But these webinars, of course, are always recorded, and the recording comes out in great quality, and we'll be able to share that with you. So just in case you're not able to see parts of it, no problem, you'll get the recording. So we've got 2 hours from Julie, 3 hours from Justin, 3 hours from Millie. So that's great, right? If we can save 2 or 3 hours a day for you and your team, that's awesome. That's exactly what we want to do. So keep those responses coming through, and I'm going to move forward here. So the first thing I want you to do is categorize your activities. Okay, first category is outbound activities, and of course we're going to have inbound activities as well. But outbound activities, what are all your outbound activities? So this would be calling a lead, or calling customers, or doing, you're sending something. So your outbound activities, you want to categorize a little bit further. They fall into 3 categories: things that require data collection or changing status, things that don't require data collection, and things that are reminders. Okay, and we're going to go through each of these in detail, so don't worry about taking notes on this stuff. Then you have your inbound activities. Inbound activities, so people calling in or walking into your business or inquiring somehow. Your inbound activities can be categorized as well into the same buckets of things that require data collection or changing status, and things that don't require data collection. Okay, now that may seem a little bit odd right now, but it's going to make sense here in just a moment. So strategy number 1, we're going to go through 3 powerful strategies that you can use to automate your business. Strategy number 1 is identify and automate the things that require data collection. Okay, these are things you're going to use internal forms for. So the reason we're categorizing these things is because it helps us identify which feature to use in Infusionsoft. As you know, there are about 14 different ways to do everything in Infusionsoft, and that's part of what creates the confusion. But if you know which feature is supposed to be used in every situation, then it's easy. So if you need to do something where data is collected, so someone gives you a mailing address, or you need to change a status of someone, you're going to use an internal form. So let's give you a quick example here. First, we'll go through what are internal forms. Internal forms are forms that are used inside of Infusionsoft by logged in users. So they're not available publicly. Your customers and your leads, your traffic on your website, not filling out these forms, they can't access them. They have to be logged into your Infusionsoft account. So it's you and your staff members. These forms collect information and trigger actions. Internal forms are also set up as a goal type in the campaign builder. So here's what they look like. You put a goal on the canvas and you select internal form, and it puts that little tiny green form icon in the lower left-hand corner. That's how you know it's an internal form versus a web form. Web form has a little form at the lower left-hand corner that's blue. Okay, so you can use internal forms in 3 different ways. You can use them from interactive view, inside the contact record or opportunity record, and also from the add a contact menu. So let me show you each one of those. Interactive view. Say someone calls up and you answer the phone, and they have, they've requested something that you need to mail to them. You're going to use an internal form. Why? Because you need a mailing address. So you're going to ask for the mailing address. But first thing you're going to do is you're going to search for them in Infusionsoft. In the upper right-hand corner, in the quick search, search their name. So I'll search Tyler Garns. Here's my record. And then I'm going to click that little icon that's just to the right of center. It's the form icon. And there I'll have a drop down of my internal forms. I select the one that I want, which I've already created to send the direct mail or do whatever I want to do. And when I click on it, it then loads the form down below. I fill in the details that I need, select any options I need, and I hit save, and it automatically triggers all the actions that need to happen. Okay, so that's interactive view. You search. From the search, you have all the little icons below the contact record or opportunity records. And from there, you can click on the forms icon, and you have your internal forms available to you there. You also have internal forms available inside the contact record. So you're in the contact record, and there's the upper set of tabs there. And if you scroll down, there's a second set of tabs down below. And you want to make sure you're on the tasks tab, which is there on the left-hand side. And you scroll down below your appointments and your tasks, and then you have notes, and you scroll down below that, and you have form submissions. You're going to click the internal forms drop down, select the form that you want, and click fill out, and then it will pop up there and give you an opportunity to fill it out. So you can see why I like the interactive view, because interactive view is much quicker to access the internal forms. But if you happen to already be inside of a contact record, you can use the internal forms there as well. And then, of course, you can use internal forms when you use the add a contact form. So someone calls up, they're requesting information, you do the quick search, and they don't exist. What do I do? Well, you go to the CRM section in Infusionsoft, and you click on add a contact under contacts, and then this form pops up. This is the standard add a contact form. It's the default. It's a full contact record with all the fields available. But at the top of the screen, you can see there's a drop down there, and you can select any of your internal forms. Okay, so the add a contact form, what you're going to do, again, from the main menu, you want to make sure you're in the CRM section. Okay, and so go to CRM settings, and then under general, you're going to scroll down to find adding contacts and that selection there. What this does is it helps you to set the default. The standard add a new contact form is the one that has the full contact record. And you just don't want to use that one because, for one, it doesn't trigger any automation. And for two, it has too many fields. So you want to zero it down to the form that is going to do all the automation for you. So obviously you're going to have multiple internal forms, but there's likely to be one that is used 60 or 70% of the time. It's often like a new lead form, and you want to trigger your sales process. And so that's the one you want to set as the default. That way, every time you go to the add a contact link in the menu, it will automatically start with that form instead of the default form that has all of the fields there. So be sure and set that setting to your favorite internal form to make sure you save yourself a bunch of time there. All right, so let me give you an example of this so that it all gets put into context and you can understand what the heck I'm talking about here. So one example might be automating your sales process. Now, if you have the complete edition of Infusionsoft or you have deluxe sales CRM, then you can be using opportunity records for this. But if you have deluxe e-commerce or you have essentials, then you don't have opportunity records. And also I use this example because although it's a sales process automation, you can easily see how this could be applied to any step-by-step process in your business. So in your sales process, here's your goals, right? You want to make sure no leads slip through the cracks. You also want to automate follow-up when you can't get a hold of people or as a result of the outcome of a call. So first, we have to define the stages of the sales process. Or again, if you're looking at some other process in your business, you just need to define the stages first. So when we have a new lead, the first thing is we got to contact them. So we set up ATC stages. ATC stands for attempted to contact. And I'm going to set up at minimum 5 of these. So I'm going to have ATC 1, ATC 2, 3, 4, 5. I typically will want my sales reps to call someone at least 8 times before they give up, because we know that the gold is in the follow-up, right? All right, and then once we get a hold of them, we're going to schedule an appointment to talk to them. That appointment gets completed, and then they're going to go into some kind of negotiating phase, and then we're either going to win the deal or we're going to lose the deal. So those are our stages, right? Very basic stages. Obviously, you might have more or less, and you might be looking at a different process in your business to automate, and so your stages might look totally different. That's fine. Then what you want to do is define what is the outcome of each stage, or what do we want to happen as a result of each stage. So when we're doing the ATCs, when we contact them, I want follow-up emails to go out. So example, I call my lead the very first time, I don't get a hold of them, I leave a voice message. Automatically, what I want to happen is an email goes to that person that is the exact same email that I would write if I were writing it out of Outlook. So how do I do that? Well, I just open up an email and I write that email and then I copy it into Infusionsoft and make it get automated. So that email sounds something like this. Hey Bob, it's Tyler here at Box Out Marketing. I just gave you a call and left a message. I noticed that you filled out our form to request a consultation. We'd love to chat with you. Here's some things we can help you out with. Here's my contact information. Give me a call at your earliest convenience, right? It's the same email we all send when we follow up with new leads, right? And so I write that email and I set it up to get automated as a result of ATC 1. And then I might have a slightly different one as a result of ATC 2, 3, 4, 5. And then once I actually get a hold of them, I'm going to schedule the appointment. Well, when an appointment gets scheduled, I want automatically some appointment reminders to go out. So they get an email immediately. Hey, confirmation email. here's your confirmation that you're booked in for an appointment on this day at this time. Don't forget, put it in your calendar, etc. The day before the appointment, I want them to get an email saying, hey, just a reminder, don't forget, we have an appointment tomorrow at this time. The morning of the appointment, I want them to get another email. Hey, last reminder, we have an appointment set today, 3 o'clock. Don't forget, we'll be here waiting for you. Okay? All right, when the appointment's completed, I want some appointment follow-up to go out to them. Hey, thanks so much for coming in. It's great to see you and meet you. Here are some other things you might want to check out. And so we automate the appointment follow-up. Once they're in negotiating phase, typically don't want to automate too much communication there because who knows what you might be talking about in the negotiations, and you don't want some weird things to go out unless you make it very generic. Just send them additional resources. Hey, here's some info that might help you, etc. Okay? And then when we win the deal, I want it to automatically start our new client welcome campaign. And when we lose the deal, I want it to automatically start a win-back campaign or a long-term nurture campaign that's going to stay in contact with the person for a while, and hopefully the time is right later and they bubble back up. Okay, so that's an example of how we do this. First, define your stages. Second, define the results of moving into each one of those stages, what you want to be automated. Then you go build it in Infusionsoft. So here's a very simple example of what we were just talking about. First, we have our sales disposition form or your sales stage form, whatever you want to call it. So every time I call somebody, I'm going to go fill out this internal form. And I'm going to change the stage depending on the outcome of that call. So I've got my ATCs at the top, and I only created a couple of them because this would have gotten really big. And then I've got scheduled appointment, appointment completed, contract sent, won, and lost. So I create a sequence for every single stage, and each one of those sequences aligns with a radio button in my form. So here's what the form looks like. I got first name, last name, email, phone, got the appointment date and the appointment time in case I happen to book them in for an appointment. So remember, anytime we're collecting new information or changing a stage or a status, we're going to use an internal form. So I've got both options here. I could be changing the sales disposition or the sales stage by the radio buttons, but also if I'm putting them into the appointment set stage, I need to have an appointment date and time. So I put in the date and I put in the time, and then I can automate those reminders. Okay, so I've got all my stages there, and of course a sequence built out for each one of those stages. When I connect all those sequences, it's going to create the decision diamond where I need to set up some rules, right? So the rules look like this. The rules for ATC1. If the form submissions options sales disposition ATC1 is selected, then it goes into that stage. If ATC2 is selected, then it goes into the ATC2 stage. If appointment set is selected, then it goes into the scheduled appointment sequence. So very basic. You just line up all the rules to make sure that when the radio button is selected, they go into the appropriate stage. Okay. Now, when they go into ATC1, remember the email sequence we talked about? As soon as they go into ATC1, I tried to call them, I left a message, they're going to get an immediate email, ATC1, email 1. That's the email saying, hey, tried to call you, here's my number, here's some information, give me a call, right? And then what I'm going to have it do, this is just in case I get busy and I'm not able to call them the next day, I'm going to have it wait a day and send another email. Hey, just me following up again, that type of thing. And then on that same day, I've got a task for myself to remind myself to call them again. Okay, I might get busy. I got other things going on. I need Infusionsoft to remind me to continue making these calls. And then it's going to wait a couple days and send another email in case I still didn't get a hold of them. Okay, now what's missing here is you might want to also apply tags for each stage. Apply the ATC tag. When they go into ATC2, remove all the other tags and apply the ATC2 tag. So they only ever have one tag at a time that defines which stage they're in. That way you can put those stages on your dashboard as saved searches, and you know exactly how many people you have in each stage, and you know who you need to follow up with. Okay. All right, so back to our sequence here. That was ATC1. Let's dive into the scheduled appointment sequence. If I actually schedule an appointment, first they're going to get that confirmation email immediately. It just happens, right? Then it's going to wait until one day before the appointment date, and it's going to send the day before reminder. Then it's going to wait till the day of the appointment, and it's going to send a morning of reminder at 5 a.m. So all of those things we talked about earlier, the desires of my heart, they're all automated now, okay? Now, when I put them into contract sent, I'm not going to have any automated communication with them at that point, but I'm going to wait a couple days and then set a task for myself to follow up with them. So I know that when I send a contract, I don't need to worry about it. They've got it. It's on their plate. But 2 days later, if I haven't heard back from them by now, it's going to create a task for me. I need to start chasing it down, okay? And so that way I don't have to worry about all of the little details in my business, because I know Infusionsoft's going to bring it back up to me at the appropriate time if necessary. Okay, so that's an example of how all that works. Lastly, if I win the deal, I'm just going to apply a tag, because that tag is going to start another campaign. It's going to start the new client welcome campaign. And I can do the same thing for the lost stage. If I lose the deal, they get a tag. That tag starts the lost lead or lost client campaign, the win back campaign, or the long-term nurture campaign, however I want to define that. So you want to make sure you're also using internal forms for things that might need to be triggered for new leads or new contacts. Remember, this is when you're using the add a contact form. So this is things like events. You go to events, you collect a bunch of business cards, you talk to a bunch of people, you collect a bunch of leads. You want to come home and enter all those real quick, right? But do you want to enter them all into Infusionsoft manually and then also send them all a manual email and then manually call them all and all that kind of stuff and tag them all for that event and set the lead source for that event and all those things? No, set all that up to happen automatically in the internal form, right? Now, this is another just tidbit. If you have a mobile phone, which you should, you want to download an app called Snap by Infusionsoft. Snap is awesome for events because you come home with a stack of business cards. What you do is use Snap to take a picture of the business card. It goes over to the nice people at Infusionsoft. They automatically transcribe all that information and create a contact record for you, and then trigger whatever actions you want. Okay, so it could apply a tag, which then would start all of the sequence stuff that you want instead of using an internal form. So you can even save yourself the hassle of typing this stuff up. The data entry, remember we talked about data entry, can be automated in that situation because the nice people over at Infusionsoft will type it for you. Okay, there's a limit to how many they'll do per month. I can't remember. I've never hit the limit, so that's great, right? Inbound phone inquiries, things like that. You want to use those internal forms that you can use at the add a contact part of Infusionsoft. Okay, strategy number 2, automate things that don't require data collection. Now, there's a lot of these, and these are really fun because they're super easy to set up and super easy to use. Okay, here you're going to use a feature in Infusionsoft called note templates. You use note templates to send responses to sales objections, send information requested by leads or customers, trigger tasks needed to be fulfilled by staff, all that kind of stuff. Okay, it's stuff that doesn't require new information. It's just stuff that needs to get done. Something happens as a response, we need to do something, so we just trigger a note template. Okay, so how do you use note templates? Well, you can use them from interactive view, and you can use them from the contact record or the opportunity record, just like the internal forms. There isn't another place, there's not a third place for like add a new contact like we had with internal forms. It's just the interactive view or from the contact record. So here's what it looks like in interactive view. You use the icon on the left that looks like a note. You click on it, you'll have a drop down of your note templates. You select the one you want, and boom, you hit save, you're off and running. So what it does is it brings in the actual note that you typed up in the template, and when you hit save, it starts the sequence and runs the actions and the automation that you wanted as a result of that. So here's an example. Someone calls in and requests our free report. I do a quick search. They're in our system. We have an email address. I don't need any more information, so I'm not going to use an internal form. I'm just going to, boom, choose this note template, hit save, boom, and it automatically sends that email for me. Hey, thanks so much for requesting our free report. Here it is. Click here to download, etc. All the automation happens. Great. In the contact record, similar to the internal forms, you just go to the contact record, scroll down to the second set of tabs, and then under there you'll find a section called notes, and you have a drop down for all of your note templates. You can select the one you want and run it from there. Okay, note templates are goals in Infusionsoft, right? So a goal triggers a sequence, and the goal is set up by clicking on that little lower left-hand icon, and what you do is you choose the goal type called applies a note. It's kind of weird. I'd rather just say note template, but that's what it's called, applies a note. And what that's going to do is allow you to set up a note template that triggers a goal and starts sequences, right? The templated note gets applied to the record, and it also notes down who did it and when it happened. So this is really helpful to have your staff using note templates, because if there's ever a problem and you need to go figure out what happened, you can always see all the note templates that were run, and you can see who ran them and when they did it. And so that way you can kind of chase down what may have gone wrong in your business and fix it, okay? And the goal triggers any sequences you like. So basic goal sequence interaction here. It's just that the goal happens to be a note template, and that's triggered by you or one of your staff members who are users inside of Infusionsoft, okay? All right, strategy number 3 is to automate reminders. Now, we've already talked about this just a little bit, but you're gonna use tasks to automate reminders to yourselves. A task must have 3 things, okay? These are the only 3 required fields in a task. They must have a type, so that type could be a call, direct mail, other, there's all kinds of things in there. And you can go into your settings and add any extra types you would like, or edit the ones that already exist. Okay, so it must have a type, it must have a backup assignee, and it must have a priority. So here's what it looks like when you're setting up a task. This example is an example of a new lead coming in the door, and the task gets assigned to the sales rep to call them. So we'll go through all the different features here. At the top is the type, so this is a call. The title shows up, new lead dash, and then I merge in the first name and the last name so that the sales rep can see in their list of tasks the name of the person that they're calling right then and there. Inside the body, I use merge fields as well. It says call this new lead today, first name, last name, phone, and email. I give them all the contact information they need right there so that they don't have to go hunt it down. It's just right there and available. You can also use the tasks to give people scripts. So if you want things to happen a specific way in your business, and you want people to follow specific processes, give them all the instructions right here in the body of the task. So we've got a little script. Hi, so-and-so, my name is Bob. I'm calling to follow up about your request for a consultation, blah, 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 blah. Give them the exact words to say. Give them the actions they need to do. Hey, when you're done with this, do this. So one thing they might need to do when they're done calling someone, they might get a hold of someone and talk to them, and they might need to go fill out that internal form, the sales disposition form, right? So you tell them, hey, when you're done with this, go fill out the sales disposition form to change the stage to the appropriate stage, right? Okay, you can assign this to the contact's owner, or you can assign to a backup. Actually, you have to assign to a backup, but if you don't check the box, then it will get assigned to whoever you select in the backup. Days until due, I always leave that 0 because I want it due right when the task is created. If I want the task created later, I'll just create the task later. And then the priority, it's critical, it's essential, or it's non-essential, okay? And then down below, you can notify people about these tasks by email, okay? If your users are working in Infusionsoft all day long, your staff members, and they use the dashboard or they use My Day and they see those tasks coming up, no big deal. You don't need to notify them by email. But I find that most people work a little better when they get an email notification as well. It reminds them to get back into Infusionsoft, find the task, and do the things that they need to do. Also, you can notify more than one person there. You can notify the person who the task is getting assigned to, and then also notify their manager. So the manager is aware and can hold them accountable. So you just select the users that you want there, and they'll all get an email notification about that task. So some best practices with tasks. First is notify by email if you or your staff are not in Infusionsoft all day. Like I just mentioned, it's great to get those email notifications if people aren't logged in all day. Put the tasks widget on your dashboard for users and managers, right? So the users that are completing the task, put that dashboard. That's what you're seeing right now in that screenshot. So you can select tasks that are due today, they're due today or past due, just past due, or future, or all. So best practice is just leave them on today or past due. You don't need to see what's coming up. You just need to know what needs to get done today. And if there's anything overdue, I better get that done today, right? And so then you train your staff. This list has to be down to 0 every single day. Before you leave, it's got to be 0. If it's not 0, you don't leave yet, right? That way you ensure all the things get done that need to get done. So you can put it on your dashboard and work out of it there, or you can work out of My Day. If you prefer My Day, where you've got the calendar and you've got the tasks and everything is right there in front of you. So to summarize what we've talked about today, first, identify the things you do repeatedly. Spend some good time with you and your staff identifying all of these things. Categorize these things by items that require new information, items that don't require new information, and reminders. Those are your 3 categories, and then you know I'm going to use internal forms, note templates, and tasks, respectively, to automate those things. And lastly, go set it all up, and if you need help, get some help. And that's why we're here at Box Out Marketing, to give you the help that you need and make sure that you can get this stuff implemented and automate it and live the life that you want to live. So here at Box Out Marketing, we specialize in getting you results with Infusionsoft. And one of the ways you get results is by saving you a ton of time and automating your workflow. So if you're interested in talking to us about how we can help you get these kinds of things implemented, just go to boxoutmarketing.com/consult and request to talk to us about how we can automate your work. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to help you out. Many of you will take what you learned today and just go implement it yourselves. Great. We'd love for you to do that. Take this information, implement it right away, and get that going in your business. Can't wait to hear the results from you guys and what you've actually automated and how that's improving your lives. We've got a bunch of comments in the comment box here in the chat of multiple hours that could be saved if only these things were automated. So please go ahead and get this stuff implemented. Dedicate some time in your business. It's an investment of time up front now to get this stuff going in your business, but it is something that's going to save you a ton of time down the road. So I'm going to put a little button on your screen right now to allow you to click that and request a consult from Box Out Marketing. If you'd like to do that, you'll see that now. Just hit that button, request consult. It'll take you right over to our website where you can request a consult and talk to us about how we can help you. So we've got a few extra minutes here as well. If you'd like to submit some questions and ask questions about how we can help you out or how you can implement these things, you have questions about how the internal forms work or the note templates or a specific scenario in your business, go ahead and just enter those into the chat. Love to help you out, answer your questions, and make sure you're able to get these things implemented in your business. So yeah, Lisa says 3 to 4 hours a day. Darius says 3 to 4 hours a day. Megan says the entire day. I'm doing all of these things. Megan, we got to help you out. We got to make sure that you are not buried by all of these tasks. Infusionsoft can literally save your life if you just invest the time to setting these things up and automating your workflow. Lisa from Sydney, how are you doing down there? We're going to be in Sydney at the end of this month. We're looking at putting together a little, kind of like a little mastermind, like a one-day mastermind meeting with a small group of people. We're going to be there for an event, but the day before the event, we're looking at doing that. If you're interested, and Justin, I see you there, you're there as well. And maybe even Julie from Rotorua, New Zealand. I've been there. It's a very smelly town. Hopefully you don't take offense to that. Lots of, what do you call them, geothermal pools there, right? So it's very cool. The kids loved it, but it is a little stinky. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be in Sydney. We're going to put together this little meeting, and it's going to be awesome. So we'll have probably anywhere between 4 and 6 people. So we'll keep a small, intimate group and make it a full day mastermind to really dive into your businesses and work on that. And we're likely to do it at a beach house in Bondi Beach. So if you guys are interested, let me know. Just pop in the chat there or send me an email, tyler@boxoutmarketing.com. We're going to get some information out to the list about that very soon. But you guys are hearing about it first. So if you're interested, just let me know. All right, Bruno's got a question. Does it mean the internal form keeps on displaying a select subset of the contact record info as we access it? Not quite sure what that means, Bruno. I'm sorry. I'm not fully understanding the question. But I think what you're saying is when you set up an internal form to be the default for your add a contact form, yeah, what it does is it just doesn't show all the extra form fields. It just shows the fields that you have set up in that particular internal form. Now you can always choose the drop down and go find the standard form that has all of the fields available to you if you want to put in other information or whatever. But the thing is that doesn't do anything automated. You're just entering in data. So I would prefer always to use an internal form, enter in the data that I have, hit submit, let it automate things, and then click on the person's record that got created and go to the record and add any additional information that I would like to add there. All right, Megan is asking, can this internal form also update the opportunity stage? You know what, that's a great question. Internal forms cannot update opportunity stages. Opportunity stages can only be updated manually. But inside of the Double Your Sales Club, we have a bunch of tools. One of those tools is an opportunity stage mover. And it allows you to automate the moving of opportunity stages. So if you wanted to, instead of moving stages automatically, and you want to use internal forms because you're collecting information along the way, then you could set it up so that when you move stages in your internal form, it also does move your opportunity stages. And that happens through our little tool called the Opportunity Stage Mover. And that's inside the Double Your Sales Club membership site. And if you are a Double Your Sales Club member, you have access to it. If you're not, let me know and we can talk to you about how you can gain access to those tools. All right, Bruno, can the filling of an internal form trigger a sequence in a campaign? Yeah, that's exactly what it does. An internal form is a goal. And so when you set up that goal, you connect a sequence to it. And as soon as you fill out the internal form, it triggers the sequence in a campaign. That's exactly what it does. So Lisa, you're asking about the dates in Sydney. Let's see, it's going to be the 29th of October. We have an event on the 30th and 31st that we're sponsoring that we'll be at. We're looking at doing this mastermind event on the 29th. So like I said, we will get some information out about that soon. But if you want to email me directly, Lisa, tyler@boxoutmarketing.com, I'll coordinate with you and get you the early bird info. We haven't quite put it out there yet. So Justin, is the surf really going to be awesome? Because we're going to be there in Bondi, and I would like to surf the day before or maybe the morning of our little mastermind event. So that would be great. All right, well, yeah, Lisa, if you're flying back from the States on the 28th, so if you're leaving the States on the 28th, you're going to get there on the 30th, most likely, depending on when you're leaving. If you're leaving the morning of the 28th, you're going to get there on the 29th. If you're leaving late in the day on the 28th, you're going to get there on the 30th. So you may not make it, but if you're actually arriving on the 28th, we'd love to have you on the 29th. So that would be excellent. All right, any other questions? We'll give it a few more minutes here and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. If you have any questions, put them into the chat box there and we'll handle them right away. All right, a few of you have been a little bit quiet. Andrea, Millie, Darius, Chad, Randy, Edward. I'm just calling you out to make you feel uncomfortable. That's okay. I'd love to hear from you. Pop your comments in there and let us know what you have questions about. Okay, great, Lisa. Looks like you're arriving on the 28th. So you could definitely come on the 29th if you're there on the 28th. Yeah, it's always funny to me when I travel to Australia. You leave on one day and you get there 2 days later. But when you come back, it's awesome because we'll typically fly back to LA or to San Diego. And if you fly direct from say Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane to LA, you arrive before you left. So that's awesome. It's like you time traveled. Super cool. Yeah, Darius, you're asking if this is actually live. Always wondering if these things are recorded. Yeah, this is certainly live. You're shocked that I actually called you out, your name. I like doing webinars live. I like the personal interaction, and you know, automated webinars are cool. And I certainly am a fan of automated webinars, and I use them in certain circumstances. But this is one that I'm certainly doing live. So it's good to have you on here. Alrighty, well, I don't see any extra questions. I do see a comment, Justin, just bring your shark suit. McFadden punching one of their mates has attracted more of them here. Awesome. That wasn't in Australia though. That was in South Africa. So look, I lived in WA, as you know, and I lived there right after a stretch of 5 fatal shark attacks within 10 months. I mean, we literally got there. We moved there like right after that 5th shark attack. So we've surfed in the sharkiest of the waters, and I shouldn't say I'm not scared. That would curse me. But I don't tend to worry about it too much. All right. Edward, great to meet you. Just wondering if you have any more cool examples for using note templates. Yeah, you know what? Basically, tons and tons of stuff. Go through that that 33 ways worksheet that I gave you at the beginning of the webinar and that you're able to download before the webinar. That has a bunch of examples there. But basically anything you can think of where there's a common response to some kind of inquiry, you can use a note template for that. Okay, Bruno's asking, where do I go to edit the internal forms? Yeah, good question. Nowadays, you just go into a campaign and you drag a goal out and you set that goal to be an internal form. Then you double click on the goal and there will be your internal form, and you just adjust whatever fields you want to be inside the goal in the campaign right then and there. It used to be that you had to set up internal forms in a place where you set up web forms, which, you know, this is all before the campaign builder. In the legacy system, you would set up a web form and then there's a little checkbox that says also use this web form inside of Infusionsoft. That was an internal form. But now we set up an internal form in the campaign builder. That should do it for you. Hopefully that answered your question, Bruno. Let me know if you got it there and if that all makes sense. I'd be happy to clarify if you need clarification there. Lisa, I'm glad this is good timing for you to learn about internal forms. Hopefully these things are helpful for you. It's amazing, you know, Infusionsoft is so powerful. And there are so many different features. You get in and you start using certain features and you get into a rhythm and it's all great and dandy, but you tend to forget there's a million other things in there. So I love doing these webinars because you know, I talk to people all the time that you know, have these aha moments and realize, oh wow, I knew that feature was there, I didn't know how to use it, or I never even knew it was there. This is great. It's going to save me a bunch of time. So that's awesome. Glad you're getting value out of it. All right, Justin, do you know if I can delete a note template? We have some in there that are no longer relevant. Yeah, so you just need to find the note template. That can be the tricky part sometimes. It's going to be in one of two places. It's going to be either in a campaign, so you'll find the goal in the campaign that is that note template and delete that goal, and you can get rid of it there. Or it will be in the legacy system in Infusionsoft, and you'll need to find the note template there. So you're gonna find those from the main menu under Marketing. Go to Templates, and from there you can filter down by types, and you're gonna go to Note, and you'll find a list of note templates there. So there's a bunch there that you'll be able to see likely if you've used the legacy system. And those are the ones you can delete. It's actually easier to find them and delete them from the legacy system than it is from the campaign builder. Because in the campaign builder, if you don't know what campaign it's in, you got to go hunting. So it's a little bit tricky there. Now, if you know, one way to find it as well, if it's in a campaign, is search your own contact record, run that note template on your own contact, and then go to the Campaigns tab in the lower second set of tabs. Go to Campaigns, and you'll be able to see that note template being run, the goal being achieved, and it'll show underneath what campaign it's in and what the goal is called. And so that's all there. You'll be able to see that as well. Bruno, can I reuse the internal forms from one campaign to another? Great question. No, not exactly. If you create another internal form in another campaign, it will be a separate internal form. But what you can do is if I run an internal form in this campaign, then of course it triggers a sequence. In that sequence, I can apply a tag. That tag can then be a goal that triggers a sequence in another campaign. So that's how you would link those two things together. You need to link them over by another tag or something like that to trigger a goal in another campaign. But the goal itself, one goal, like a note template, cannot trigger sequences in two different campaigns. Things like tags can, right? Because you can set up the tag goal in two different campaigns. But when you set up a note template, it is unique to that campaign. Same thing with like internal forms and web forms and things like that. They're unique. So they can't they can't be used in other campaigns. So you link them across by applying a tag and having that tag achieve a goal in another campaign that then starts a sequence in the other campaign. Okay? All right, well, I think that's about it. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. So thanks so much, everybody. Great having you on. And you know, since the rest of my day is automated, I'm gonna go surfing. I'm gonna go to my son's surf practice. He's got high school surf practice right now, so I'm gonna head over there and go paddle out with them for a little bit. All right, thanks everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.